finally, and we're supposed to have blustery winds later. I'm not looking forward to that part, but we thank you for coming along with us and learning more about Circle of Security. We're glad to have Celtic Fish here with us today, and to our friends out in North Carolina, Wyoming, Tennessee, and Brazil, thanks for watching us and listening to this broadcast or podcast wherever you may find us. If you don't know where to find us, you can obviously find us here at 11:80 a.m. America Matters at Wednesday at 10 a.m. To 11. And then we also podcast, so you can find us on iTunes and whatever your favorite platform is for listening to podcasts, you can do that. And we're on YouTube Live, and we're on Facebook Live, and sometimes it takes time to get these things going and up, and so thank you for being patient and looking at the logo for a few minutes until we can get it switched over. Zach, we got a busy morning in here this morning. Christian.
Good morning.
Good morning. You've had a lot going on. Texas Roadhouse last night, I saw.
Yeah. We were supporting our friends over at Boxers and Buddies. Last night and tonight they're doing a fundraiser at Texas Roadhouse. You bring in the little flyer, and 10% of whatever your order is, they give back to their organization.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see that the community's jumping in to help all you guys out there in the rescue world.
It's always nice, and we love supporting, the rescues that we partner with.
Yeah. Do you want to give us your points today? We have Goliath in the studio today.
Yeah, we've got Mr. Goliath. He's a big, goofy, blue Staffordshire Terrier. And he's 9 years old. He's sweet. He's loving. He is sort of a victim of his breed a little bit, and so he was surrendered to one of the shelters, I won't say who, and upon intake, he barked at the intake girl, and typically a bark from any other type of dog would be like, okay, it was a bark.
Right.
But unfortunately marked him as unadoptable, and that would have sent him to euthanasia. So they contacted us and said, hey, we've got this really sweet boy. He's great. He does well with other dogs, and is there anything you can do to help us out? And so we took him in, and now we're just looking for the right home for him.
That's awesome. I hope he finds that forever home. I know what it's like to have a dog that acts up every now and then.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just fear, but unfortunately, because of his breed, if he does get scared, if he barks, and they tend to be a little more demonized than any other. If a lab did it, it's just a lab being a lab.
When I was helping one at a time rescue back in Indiana, we took our we had a boy Yorkie, and he got his shots and went to get neutered, and we put him in you have to put him in a crate when you take him.
Yeah.
And when he came back, it says, danger or will bite or something on the side, and I'm like, and I guess he just barked like that. So that's how they handle these situations. They go ahead and say, this dog barked at me. Maybe there's something that you did that just sparked it off.
And sometimes it's location, going to a vet, or especially an intake at a shelter, dogs put off these pheromones, these fear-based pheromones that they'll act differently there than they will somewhere outside.
That's right. So that's why we love foster homes.
Exactly.
And you're Anita Fosters, right?
Absolutely. We're always looking for good homes. We've started calling our fosters short-term dog owners.
That helps.
The name foster sort of has a negative connotation. A lot of people think that,
I was born a foster kid, and here I am, and I'm just kidding.
Not the surname, but...
I'm just kidding. We got to leave it light this morning, because it's been a hectic, really off-the-wall, whacked morning, and so I'm just joking around.
Oh, I get it.
Go ahead and tell us what else you got going on.
Yeah, so, we've got a bunch of other dogs we're looking for homes for. They're all very sweet and have their own personalities, so we do a lot to try and place them with the right homes. We have Casper, who came up from the Bakersfield shelter. He's an 8-month-old Malinois pity mix and smart. I mean, super, super smart. We just got him neutered, and so he's ready for adoption.
Awesome.
We've got Pearlie, who basically a friend of a friend asked us to rehome her, and she's a little 15-pound Chihuahua Terrier mix, and unlike typical Chihuahuas, she's not yappy or barky or skittish or aggressive. She's sweet as can be. The other day I held her for 2 hours during our Noble Pie event. We have Jada, who's still looking for a good home. We've got Jabba, who has an adoption pending through,
Good.
Not last weekend's, but the weekends before Maddie's adoption day.
Awesome.
Sweet Pea, who has a home visit tomorrow, so fingers crossed there.
Fingers crossed.
Yep. Galena, and then Piglet, who you met.
I love Piglet.
Exactly.
I want him to find him, right?
Him, yeah.
I want him to find a good home
Yeah.
because he's a good dog. He was an angel in here, and gave us his opinion every now and then.
And then aside from needing fosters, we're looking for fundraising opportunities or good donators for a couple programs that we have, the Transport Fleet program, which we've talked about here, and then we just unveiled our school education program as well. And so all
that's going to be here soon, too.
Yep, and so all of that can be found on roughriders.org.
Perfect timing. Look at that.
I know.
I've been working on some logos and doing some different things. You can see that information at afdesigns.online. Folks, stay with us. Don't turn that dial. We got a lot more coming up with our guests today, and we look forward to seeing you on the flip side of the break. Stay with us. Yeah. I guess it helps if you have your mic on. And my co-host was going to bring us back in, but he was putting his headphones back on. So here we are. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And did we finish up with your touch points?
Yeah,
Do you have anything else you want to put in there?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. Well, welcome to the show. First name? Kenny McCormick's here with us with Celtic Fish, and I want to know how you came up with the name Celtic Fish.
Looks like we might have to switch microphones here real quick.
Yeah, we're a little off, so we're just going to go back to the old, and we're good. We're good.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, there you
Yeah, you are. Welcome.
It's amazing technology today.
Yes, isn't it?
Definitely.
It can be very confusing, in my opinion. I left here at American Matters the other day, and I shut down my computer. Had to go to Carson City for Eddie, and came back and no computer. It just came up blank screen, and I know Eddie had a virus here or something. He had 80 extensions or something crazy on his laptop. So I don't know what happened to mine. I'll get it figured out. Just got to reload my Windows, I think. But
Just bring it by the office.
Yeah.
I know you know where it's at.
yeah, I do know where it's at. Yeah, it's probably a real quick fix. But I went out and I went to Best Buy and I found a HP with a terabyte. 1 terabyte and all that. Still had 4 gigabyte
Yeah.
thing, and I looked at my specs on my Toshiba that I already had, so wanted to make sure I got something close, and I ended up doubling my storage, which I need. And I picked up this little Chromebook. I got both of those computers for $449 plus Office 365 for a year.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's a good deal.
Hey, I did a good shopping, I think. I came out with
did,
2
yeah.
computers, less than I told Mario. I just wanted something smaller that I can pack back and forth rather than putting everything, I tear it down every day to come in here or whatever I do. And so I'm really happy with that purchase, and the people at Best Buy were good. But now I have my computer, and I own a business, and I might run into a few glitches along the way on my internet and different things. How did you come up with the name Celtic Fish?
So, Celtic Fish is a combination of my last name and my wife's maiden name.
Okay.
My wife, her maiden name is Fisher, and my last name is McCormick. So, we used to have a joke that we'd call our kids and everything McFishlings, and McFish is what we were going to go with. Well, McDonald's kind of holds the trademark on McFish, so, and I don't want people to think I'm a sandwich.
Oh, come on.
Aw.
McDonald's could probably use a McFish.
Right? They used to.
They used to.
Free advertising for them.
Right? So, we went with the Celtic Fish for, instead of the Mick. And with that, I mean, everyone in my family, my wife, Crystal, starts with a K. My name starts with a K. All my kids start with a K. At the time, we had a dog that started with a K. We just like the K names.
Yeah, that's
I do too.
awesome.
I do too.
Yeah, I tend to stick with T's. I don't know why, except Mario's name isn't with a T, but maybe I'll start calling him Tario at home. I don't know. He'd like that, I'm sure. What is your background education? How'd you get started in IT work?
Well, my education background isn't in...
Oh, good, self-taught, my favorite.
Yeah, isn't in IT. Education-wise, I studied dual masters in education, one in behavioral disorders and one in special education at UNR. But I was in the military, joined the National Guard, and that's what I did, was long-haul communications, and then switched over to networking and servers afterwards.
Awesome. Thank you for your service. We really appreciate you keeping us free. We really do appreciate it.
You're welcome. It's a job. It was fun.
I know, but the sacrifice that you do to do that job is what I'm thanking you for.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay. So why did you pick the location where you're at now?
In Reno?
Yeah.
I was born and raised here.
Okay.
I grew up in Fallon, which I normally don't admit, but since I'm on the radio, I got to be honest. I did grow up in Fallon. So once I grew up and became an adult, I decided to move to Reno and then realized I wasn't an adult. I was still a kid. And just kept going. And I love the area. Families nearby.
Went to UNR.
Went to UNR, which my mother, who's listening, or mother-in-law who's listening, Deborah is there right
welcome for listening. We're glad you tuned in today. I was going to ask you about your location because it's not seen on Ryland. It's kind of in the back there by Lyft. So why that location for your business?
Well, originally that location was supposed to be a shared co-op space called Biz Club Zero. The owners at the time, who now own Powerhouse Consulting, Devin Sizemore and Keenan Polson, I think is his last name.
Okay.
They were doing Biz Club Zero, and what ended up happening is it didn't make it, but they needed an IT guy to run their network. I needed a location. It just worked out. And then I just fell in love with the building. It has a lot of history, being old Oakman's. That I just stayed there and love it.
Now, how long have you been in business there in that location?
Almost 3 years now.
Almost 3 years. And Zach, you went along for the ride on that?
Yeah, I've been with Celtic for a little over a year now.
Good. What do you do for them?
Sales and account management. So
Okay.
I'm the guy that goes out and meets everybody and talks to everybody and helps inform people of how we can increase their IT security, and we do VoIP phone services. And
I want to talk about a little bit about this dark web thing because we're starting to hear that term
almost every day.
Almost every day, and we're like, what the hell is this? Like I'm sorry, radio friends, and watchers for swearing on the air. I shouldn't do that. It just came out.
I thought it was going to be me first, so.
Thank God.
We were joking in there that we'd have like a 30-second blip of me just cursing. So.
Yeah, somebody said yesterday before they come on Oliver X's show yesterday that she got all of her cuss words out before 8 o'clock so that she could come on air. I thought that was kind of funny. But, we have regulations in order, and I try to walk the straight line, but sometimes I fall off. I'm normal, or whatever normal is. Where do you see your business going into the next year? Or dark web, let's talk about that. Sorry, scatterbrain.
Well,
what is that? What does that mean, dark web? How do it's not somewhere. It's not somewhere I want to visit, right?
Well, the dark web is a conspiracy. It's not real. No, just totally kidding. And, it's basically the black market for the internet. Just to keep it simple, it's where a lot of people, or a lot of things that we look for in the dark web is like your usernames are being sold, your passwords are being sold, your identity is being sold. It's just a location that everything is put, kind of like the old days, when you're selling elephant tusks. I had a PC myself there. When you're selling things on the black market, you just need a place to go. And that's for the IT world, that's the dark web.
I see. So it's kind of like holding data more than it is like what we see when we just go to the internet.
Well, the
right?
big thing is like the dark web isn't inherently malicious.
Okay.
It's just you have to know direct IP addresses to access different servers and stuff. So it's not like you can't go Google this thing over there. That's not there on the dark web.
So it's more of the unregulated web as opposed to anything else.
Correct.
Yeah. That's why it's called dark.
Yeah.
So it's the back corner and the shadows.
So not good, not bad. It's just there's no oversight.
Right.
So that's where the things come in then, where you're stolen.
Well, yeah, that's so a lot of
basically when your information gets stolen, it can change your life a little bit.
Yeah. And that's one of the services that we do offer is we are monitoring it for a couple of our customers. We have a application that goes there and searches consistently looking for username, passwords, and PII or personal identifiable information throughout the dark web. And it just looks, I get hits on a daily on certain organizations that probably would scare you if you knew.
Yeah, I don't want to know. I like being in the blind and not knowing. Because my life's so much better without knowing that.
Sometimes I wish I was that way.
I understand. Sometimes we're in positions out there in the world that, we wish we weren't in.
Right.
Because it's just too much overload information of what really is going on. It's like learning about the homeless here, there's the homeless, and then there's what's going on in the homeless community. It's kind of like the dark web and the web,
Yeah.
Not everything's always up front. How has technology, such as computers and the internet, impacted how you conduct business?
Well, I love when computers break, let me put it that way. Actually, I don't. I prefer, we're a proactive stance, so we don't like your computers breaking. If they do, we kind of cry.
Yes.
But computers nowadays, it's a continuously changing environment. You can't have, like, the computer you bought today in a couple months, it's out of date.
Yeah, we got to go to another break.
Oh,
Sorry.
good.
We're going to take off, and we'll be right back here in a second.
Swap it to this mic.
What's that?
We're gonna swap him to the middle mic. So
Yeah,
he
been
jumped.
on that one originally.
Yeah, then he
and I had it
shuffled.
all set up, and then he moved, and
I
I
know.
didn't want to move because I was out there writing checks.
I know. That's why I told him just grab the other one. I was like, I know he didn't have that one on muted.
Okay, go ahead and hang that one back up over there.
Christian, thank you for being here.
Sorry, I couldn't see you.
Might help if you could hear me.
It's okay. I have your $100 coming, by the way, as soon as I
thank
get my stuff.
This is what I guess what it was. That's why I was just having to jump back on that one. I was like, you still have that whole line muted, so.
Yeah. Did I do okay? Maybe they're just twitches and making jokes. It's a conspiracy, I swear. So I was just having way up here.
Well, you want it where it'll pick up, but you don't want it where you breathe.
Is that all right? I can't see you. It's good for me, I can't see your face. We have a loving relationship.
Yeah. I can tell.
It's delayed.
Facebook. Well, after all the things that have been, after all the things that have been pushed through Facebook Live, like fights and people, they have a long delay before people actually watching it. I should get in trouble.
How long until the breaks in? Dang Dado Cone. It made me sicky.
I think you got sick when you came back last year too.
What?
So I think you got sick when you came back last year too.
One more time?
So I think you got sick when you came back last year too.
Dude, it started off with like one person coughing, and by the end it was like everyone was coughing. It was horrible.
Sorry. Go ahead, Zach.
You can't be sliding.
He woke up, guys.
Thanks for tuning in with us this lovely Wednesday morning here in Reno, Nevada on KCKQ AM 1180. All of our Facebook Live listeners, watchers, and anybody who catches us on the podcast or the recording afterwards, we appreciate you. Kenny's waving.
It's Dan.
Dan. Yeah, Dan.
Hi. I love Dan. He's helped me a lot. We were talking about, before the break,
Dark web.
Dark web, but then we went into something else. Help.
Breaking computers.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And my Chromebook's going to be out obsolete in a couple months.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just how technology rolls. Actually, I just got back from a conference where we actually talked about how technology nowadays, after 3 years, and I didn't practice this, so
It's
I
all
might
right.
stumble a little bit.
I don't
But
practice either.
After 3 years of having a device, the amount of time that it takes to boot up and to actually do any processes, you lose about 5 days worth of work every year after. So like year 3, you got 5 years or 5 days of downtime that you're losing from one of your employees. And then year 4, you got 10. Year 5, you got 15. So you might as well not be paying them for those days. It's one of the reasons that we try to push, keeping up to date, keeping your computers fast. We do a bunch of tune-ups, but there's always so much you can do with technology nowadays.
Right. Like my new Chromebook isn't communicating with my old Canon printer.
Uh-oh.
And that's why Zach doesn't have printed notes this morning.
Now there's.
Oh, I'm sorry, Goliath. I just stepped on you.
He's just wandering around.
It's okay, Christian.
I had a quick question as far as hardware slowing down, and there's a lot of conspiracy out there that after a certain period of time that the manufacturers put some sort of
Hex on your stuff.
something in the software, hardware, whatever it may be, to force you to purchase the latest and greatest and the newest, as opposed to just natural hardware degradation. Do you find any truth to that at all, or is it just the nature of the hardware?
It's just the nature of the hardware. I'm not a car person, but kind of how I understand cars. If you run a car and you're not doing the maintenance, not doing any of the daily or monthly or whatever maintenance that you're supposed to be doing, eventually it's going to start slowing down and breaking. I haven't received that yet, and my brother-in-law and mother-in-law will tell you that I'm the worst with my car. I don't take care of it at all. But your car's just going to start breaking down quickly. It's the same thing with your computer. And the more you abuse it, the harder it's going to be to keep it maintained.
Now, do you find that people get confused on the updates, and they're scared to do anything on their computers and stuff, and then that causes issues?
I'm scared of updates, but
Especially WordPress. Ooh, I don't like
Upgrades can break stuff.
yes.
or disappear.
As a whole, updates are kind of scary. It happens. I mean, Microsoft loves to update your computer all the time, and it's one of those necessities that suck because it slows your computer down and it takes forever, and if you're not rebooting your computer daily or weekly or whatever, it's going to take a lot of issues. For my customers, what we do is we actually do a week delay on the updates. So unfortunately, my computer gets them first. I'm a firm believer of taking the brunt of all the issues.
Yes.
And we end up troubleshooting my computer before and stopping any updates that may cause issues, and then coming back to them and figuring out what's causing those issues before we push them to our customers. It's one way that we take our proactive stance.
It's like when you update your Apple phone and then there's all these glitches and then they come out with the new improved version that has new glitches.
Yeah. Well, there was an update, and I wish I could remember the number right off the top of my head.
The Apple one?
No, for Microsoft.
Oh.
It actually caused a huge issue where a lot of computers were crashing. We actually canceled that update. Like, we outright took it out, and like a month later, they came out with the patch. It was one of the big combos. I want to say it was like 1809 or something stupid like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was,
Yeah, those service packs, they cause a lot of problems
yes.
in my experience over the years.
Well, that's why, being a week delayed, that gives us time to listen to the message boards and stuff and see if anybody else is experiencing issues. So maybe this one knocks out the functionality on your QuickBooks, and a lot of our customers use QuickBooks. So it's like, well, we're going to either wait or just not push that update, because you don't want Windows to stop your business from functioning. It's supposed to be a tool, not a
hindrance. Yes, exactly. And it
So.
can. And when systems go down in a business, I worked in a press room, and they were computerized. So whenever there was a power, out north of valleys, the power glitches a little bit more than here in town, and it would, there goes the web.
Right.
Right.
Well, and that's when you're dealing with a business. One of the things that I see is people still treat their business like they do their home. And I'm trying to say this lightly, but you can't use the same router you use at your house that you use in your business. It's not going to protect you the same way.
I see.
Businesses nowadays, especially small businesses, are the most vulnerable, and they're being attacked more often than you would believe. I want to say it's like 90%. I don't have the statistics right in front of me, but it's like 90% of the small businesses are the ones who actually are being attacked. And most of the time, you don't even know that you're being attacked at that time.
Yeah, until later when the big surprise comes.
Yes. So, like, when we put in a network, we actually replace the network with one that has a cellular backup. So you don't go down, especially with technology today. We have QuickBooks Online. How are you going to process your payments? Or how are you going to receive payments? How are you going to do your job? When majority of our technology and majority of our services are online. A lot of companies use web-based applications now instead of on-premise applications. Can't do that if the network's out. So you have to have that redundancy.
Right.
credit card processing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
I'm
my
familiar
God.
with that one in a retail store.
Right? Yeah, so that's why all our routers that we put in have a cellular backup. We want to make sure that our networks stay up. And to the best of our ability, I mean, there's going to be times where we get hiccups. But as a whole, we keep our networks
Keep
up.
things running.
I'm working right now on developing this model that I want to call the links of IT security, because there's a whole bunch of different avenues of security that people need to look at that they're not. Like having a redundant network where you have a backup, having an antivirus. People nowadays don't even have antiviruses on their computers because they don't think it's needed. And for any of you
Windows
Apple,
Defender is
Yeah.
enough.
Apple people and Mac people, it's fake. You do have to have an antivirus. Macs are horrible, and they had a reputation a long time ago of being unhackable. They are hackable. They're probably one of the most dirtiest computers now because people don't have antiviruses on their computer, and it's such an easy step.
I heard somebody just got hacked on the news last night, and I was going to try and remember. Big thing. It's a big thing in the news yesterday. Some companies got hacked and a lot of information, and it's important to protect yourself with that security of knowing that I can get on here and I'm not going to have to worry about people taking my stuff.
Oh, yeah. One of the things that I would like to point out to people is it's not if you're ever going to get hacked, it's when. You have the possibility of losing data anytime. At that conference, I love conferences, by the way. You learn so much. I met my all-time hero, Kevin Mitnick, who's like the world's greatest hacker, most famous hacker. He's amazing. He actually had a device that was a USB charging cable for an Apple phone that actually injected viruses into people's computers.
Wow.
And the whole point was you don't want to, like, when I was going through all my training, it was never put a CD in. And that shows you kind of how long I've been in computers. Don't put a floppy disk in. Then it went to CD. Then it was thumb drives. Now it's basically, if you don't provide your own USB cable, you don't stick it in. Don't do a mouse.
Yeah, people are ordering things off of Amazon that come from China, and
That's who it
who
was.
knows?
Thank you for saying China. China hacked into something. And
Not
we're
surprised.
in, yeah.
Well, the other issue, so with hacking, let's touch on this, is just because it looks like it came from China doesn't mean they were in China.
Yeah, we
with
shouldn't
proxies and
stereotype.
spoofing location, you can be anywhere in the U.S. or anywhere in the world and look like you're accessing something from anywhere else in the world. So that's why a lot of people, it's cautionary tale. Just because it looks like it's from here doesn't mean it is.
Right. Like our spoof phone calls that come in and it says 775 area code, and then you find out it's not anywhere close from
They're not in the
Nevada.
U.S.
Yeah, exactly. And it routes it around so many times and stuff.
I've Anita.
Yes.
I've actually received a phone call from my own phone number while I'm holding it in my hand.
Yep.
They spoofed my own number and called me.
Oh my God, that is crazy.
Well, did they say they were from the IRS?
And you owe them money?
it was-
Can you send
it
them
was-
gift cards? Your computer is at risk.
Oh, that's funny. I love
Go to this
those.
website and give us
Yep.
control, right?
Folks, it's ready. We're almost done with the show already. We got another break to go to. We'll be back right after a word from our sponsors. Thank you.
I love those IRS ones. Computer issue ones. Can I tell you what the last one called me? Yeah, I was sitting there and I was like,
Hey.
Zach and Kenny.
How are you, bud? Looks like you're doing good.
They prey on the old folks.
How's your new
ask-
office?
and so what's your social security number again?
I'll do it.
The show, I got a ticket, so
Okay.
if I have dozens sold so far, I would play with them. So it's too worried.
Thanks for staying tuned with us this Wednesday morning in Reno. It's a nice sunny day out today, and we're all about cybersecurity today on Business Connections with Anita.
Yes, we are. And then we had Dan Kim pop in and give us a little information on where he's going to be at. Can you?
Yeah, he is doing a one-night-only show, a hypnotic show, on Thursday, July 18th, 2019. Doors will open at 6:30 p.m., and the show is from 7 until 9. It's going to be hosted at Justin Impossible's Magic Shop and Theater. That's in the Smithridge Business Center. So that's 780 Smithridge Drive, Suite 450. It's across the street from Chuck E. Cheese, just down Smithridge Drive there.
There you go. Go to Chuck E. Cheese first.
Right.
Play some games, and then come over to Dan's show.
Yeah, he's actually going to have a special guest comedian, Roger Diaz. So if you get your tickets in advance, they're $20 right now, or $30 at the door, and he's got a special discount on family packs.
And I'm going to correct you on Roger's last name. It doesn't have a T in it, but it's Dietz.
Dietz.
Roger Dietz.
Okay, Roger Dietz.
Thanks for the correction.
Well, and the other cool thing,
A close personal friend of mine.
Awesome.
Nice.
the other cool thing of this show is it's being filmed as an audition for Comedy Central.
Yes.
Yeah, and we want to lift him up. Dan's a really good guy, and he's helped me out a lot. And this is a hypnotic comedy show.
Yes.
We should mention comedy. So, if you need to laugh, maybe you should go.
Right.
Dan puts on a great show.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I've never seen his show, but I have.
Now
been
you've got
under-
a chance.
I now
There you
have
go.
a chance.
Comedy. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I just wanted to steal someone's password.
Well, I mean, I watched a YouTube. I think I told you about a YouTube video is out there where people are just talking about security of passwords, and they're on the street in a big city just with a camera, and the guy starts questioning people that are walking by and be like, hey, what kind of password do you use? Like, what do you use for your password? How secure is it? It's like, oh, I use my dog. And then,
don't use things
the
that...
year I graduated from high school, and they're like, oh, that's great. Oh, what kind of dog do you have? I got a German Shepherd. Oh, I've got a little Yorkie. Oh, that's amazing. Yorkies are so much fun. Oh, and...
So it's Yorkie 1982 is your password.
Well, yeah,
I got it
it's
right
like,
there.
oh, and how old are you? Oh, so did you graduate? What high school did you go to? Oh, that's amazing. What
They
class
get all
were you
your
with?
information just with questions.
Yep. And they're like, oh, so your password is Yorkie82? And they're like, how'd you figure that out?
Yeah.
So my passwords are all password 1234. Does that present a problem at all, or no?
It won't be for long.
Don't worry. What's your social too? What's your mother's maiden name?
That's funny. I want to give a quick shout out to our friends in Warsaw, Indiana, and Jake Jimrick out there. He needs a kidney, and we're putting the word out for him. He is on the list for Minnesota and Indiana.
Yep.
We want to make sure that we mention that, that he is in need of a living donor, and we have helped people in our area here out in Dayton and get a kidney, and David's doing pretty good. He's had a little bit of pain and still on the mend, but we want to get back to some more information because there's so much more information with this circle of security stuff here.
Oh my God! Yeah.
What are some of the ethical concerns that you have when you're dealing with taking care of a business's needs in IT?
Some of the ethical concerns that I have, is that what you...
Well, as a business, how do is there ethical concerns? Like, if I was a business, coming in, like, you might steal my stuff. That's an that's a concern of mine. How do I know you're on the up and up?
Well, the first thing I tell people, and Zach being my sales guy, he's going to hate me for saying this on the air, but if you have a good IT person that you trust, stick with them.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't want to change your underwear if you don't need to.
Keyword good.
Yes.
But how do you know
So,
they're good?
if you trust them, if they're doing you right, just stay with them.
Yeah.
Because, changing your merchant processor, changing your IT guy, it's a pain in the butt.
Well, and that person has history with you, and they kind of know all your issues that you typically run into, right? Every business has a thing.
But for those who don't, every contract we sign has an ethical clause in it. My staff all have NDAs saying that they can't talk about what happens in each of the companies. And then we love our customers, and we prove that we just care for them.
Right.
We make them part of our family. We want to integrate as staff members to them. We don't want them to look at us as subcontractors. We want them to look at us as family.
And what are some of the issues your business runs into with trying to do all this for everybody?
Good salespeople. Sorry, Zach, I had to. Honestly, my biggest issue is that I care too much. And I know that sounds really stupid, and like every IT guy is going to say they care, but I do. Like, if I don't see a need for something, I'm not going to push it.
Right.
And it hinders my company so much because we don't make money on that. I mean, like, I had a guy yesterday, great guy. I know he's not listening because he's not from around here, and he's actually on the road right now.
We're worldwide, honey.
Oh, man. So he might be listening. But he
You didn't mention names, so it could be anybody in the world right now.
he uses his office in Reno like once a month for 4 days. Why am I going to sell him this huge router, this network that he doesn't need, where I could just tell him, go get a VPN to your other network, and let's go to Best Buy and buy you some generic piecer that I would never recommend anywhere else. And that's the kind of thing I do. Like, I could have upsold him. He was willing. And I was like, no, let's talk about it when you're full-time here.
Yeah, because that builds trust right there. If you say, hey, I could sell you all this crap, but this is what I think you need. I think in the long run, that's where your referrals come from, because of word of mouth, because you didn't take them for a ride. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not necessarily. Like, what if I found out, hey, I bought this big package and then it costs, let's say, $2,000, and then I get down, learn more information from someone else that it really should have only been $600. I'd be a little ticked off, and then I'd be telling people not good news.
Oh, yeah. And that's one of the things that we pride ourselves on is, like, we want to be a community-based company. The goal of our company is actually to fund nonprofits. Both my wife and I have nonprofits in mind that we want to start, and we want it 100% paid for by the company. So why would we, as a company trying to start a nonprofit, screw companies that we want
are
to help?
for profit.
Yeah, we want to help people. We don't want to hinder them.
Right.
And unfortunately, IT does cost, and it's probably one of the biggest costs.
And that's probably why small businesses really don't put their money into it, right? Because of the cost?
Well, they don't understand. Like, a lot. That's the issue. Is if you're not in the industry, if you haven't worked around the industry, you don't understand the risk that you're at and
how it all
the ramifications.
interconnects.
And if you get a breach, so say you have say you're a medical office. And you're not HIPAA compliant. You're using a router off the shelf from Best Buy, and you get a breach, and you had all your patient files.
So security
accessed.
numbers, credit card numbers. My mom had that happen to her.
Their PHI, which is personal health information, which is a whole different classification of protection. Then the cost of you have to now go get a lawyer. You have to do first class post office notification of every single one of them of what was accessed, how the breach happened, what you're doing to remedy it.
It's an investigation.
Yeah, well, there's an investigation side that has to go behind all of that, which we actually helped one of our non-IT, we had a VoIP client that had an issue recently, and Kenny and Dodie have spent a lot of time working with the FBI doing the research side of it because there was a breach. There was
sensitive information.
an issue.
How often do you find that customers become new customers to you after something has happened, as opposed to being proactive and trying to prevent it?
Well, I mean, that's when you figure out that, we need this, right? Because something happened. Something fell off. The network died.
I would say probably a third of our customers are that.
That makes sense.
We definitely, we're a word of mouth company. Like, we don't do much advertising, which I need to get better at. I suck at it. But the majority of the time we're catching it before it happens. I mean, we've only dealt with 2 or 3 major issues, and then that's about it.
I don't think that cough button helped much.
Sorry.
It's okay. It didn't go in my ear. I'm just kidding. We wanted to give you this as a gift from us here at Business Connections with Anita, America Matters. We've come into the close of this show already. You'll have to come back and tell us some more information. I know there's a lot to cover in an hour. We anticipated that, and I overwrite. But how can folks contact you real quick?
Best way is actually not to contact me, but to contact Zach.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am probably the worst IT guy because I don't do email that well. So contact Zach at zachary.hill at Celtic.
Zachariah.hill at CelticFish.com, or you can call us 775-996-3761.
Or go CelticFish.com and go through their contact form. You can see more about me at afdesigns.online. Goliath, thank you for being such a good dog and hanging out. It's a doggone Wednesday. People, have a great hump day. We love you. We'll see you next week.
Take care.